then layered Loch Lomond underneath it. Da da dee da da dee da da dee da dee da da.
Hi, I'm Gary Gillett. I'm Director of Bands here at Big Sky High School, and we've been running the AA Invitational Band Festival. It is a festival which will include 4 bands this year, the 3 urban high schools from Missoula, Big Sky, Hellgate, and Sentinel, and we've invited AA school Billings Senior here also. We play for each other. We've rehearsed both days underneath guest directorship, and one of the gentlemen is here with me now. And this is Barry Kopetz from the University of Minnesota. I'd like to welcome you, Barry.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And for working with our kids. Would you like to give us a little background on yourself, please, sir? Where you come from, what you're doing?
Well, most of my background, as you already know, is from public school teaching, and spent most of my public school teaching years in Ohio and South Carolina, and came to the University of Minnesota in 1986, and worked with the marching band, the chamber winds, and the symphonic band.
Ah, great. How did you come to be a music teacher? What got you in this profession to begin with?
What got you in this profession to begin with? We all had somebody that kind of, along the way, inspired us to pursue this as a profession. And for me, it was a combination of private teachers, but my high school band director really, I think, would get the biggest credit, as well as the high school choir director as well. Both were very strong influences. And in going through high school, all of us that were on a 9-period school day found the opportunity to take choir, band, jazz band, and if we desired, orchestra. We could get it all in, and that's become increasingly difficult, as you know, with the 6-period school days.
Yes, it's very hard on our kids just to be able to take one music class.
Exactly, and I feel at moments like they may be, getting a little bit cheated on the current system, and it'd be nice if they can at least flex a little bit and get it back where some of these kids can get double experiences.
That's interesting. I'd like to have some personal observations about your experiences here in Missoula these last 2 days working with our kids.
Well, working with the kids has been a joy. They've been cooperative. We had a good powwow here, so to speak, at the end of rehearsal, and they're wonderful young people. We've worked them hard, and we've treated them like we treat our own kids in our own programs, that you need to be pushed a little bit. We need to work diligently toward the goal of performance, which is only 48 hours after the first rehearsal. And I think they've handled it very well. Never having been to Montana before this trip, it's always interesting to find out how people do things in other parts of the country and whether the students are exactly the same as where you've been before. And I would say these young people are wonderfully cooperative and gifted musicians, a lot of good musicians in the bands.
How are things similar to what you've seen elsewhere?
I think in similarity, it would have to rest in the factor that the students, I think, tend to be pretty enthusiastic if the conductor approaches the rehearsal with enthusiasm. I think a band can have several different personalities depending on who is standing on the podium, and that doesn't mean that bands can't play with certain conductors, but it does mean that if the conductor approaches them with the idea that you are qualified musicians and we expect your best, that they'll give that back. And I've noticed that to be true in other states as well. I mean, no matter what the band is like when the conductor gets first in front of them, it's after that first few minutes of rehearsal where you finally find out, are they going to follow, or are we going to have to force them to move? Well, this group, I think, followed, and that makes it fun for the guest.
Yeah, yes. What other interests do you have? Do you have other interests outside of music? Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't.
Yeah, well.
How about yourself?
I say my primary interest outside of music is still in music, and that's writing music, but I regard that still as more of a hobby than a profession. I'm a runner. I tend to do that to try and keep the weight off, like most people try to find ways as they get a little older. I'm a voracious reader, but I find as most band jobs require us to be in the office early and rehearse at nights, we try and get things done when school is out. There seems to be very little time to do some of the things that we regard as enjoyable hobbies. So those things I think we squeeze in whenever we can. Running for me is a 6 a.m. activity. If I don't run at 6, I don't run at all. So for me, that's a hobby. The rest of my time I try and spend with my young daughters so that they know who their dad is as they're growing up.
Oh, great. How did you become, what instrument did you play? Are you an instrumentalist and a vocalist? You were in high school choir too.
Well, choir, I think, like I say, on a 9-period school day, students will partake, I think, of opportunities as long as their schedule allows them to do it in a way where it doesn't keep them from getting their academic work done. As soon as the academic work requires so much school time that they can't participate in a band or a choir, I think they feel the pressure then from a variety of people to succeed in their academic areas and to not partake of areas that I still consider myself to be academically important, like music, art, drama, dance. Those things to me have equal value in the curriculum. I think when the students feel the squeeze, well, of course, they have to opt to drop out of the things that aren't going to get them into the college of their choice. And I think, personally, I think it's a sad, unfortunate statement that we're making, that we're forcing them to make that decision before maybe they're old enough to really know whether music or drama or something else is going to be important to them for the future. It's just, for me, I wish there was a way to not put them in that predicament. And you find solutions throughout the country being tried, like they call zero periods, where students are coming in at 6:30 a.m. so they can be in jazz band. Well, that's fine, but I'm not sure the best time of the day for a jazz band rehearsal is at 6:30. How are you at 6:30 a.m.? I mean, it's difficult.
It is real hard.
Yeah, and or going to after school, and then of course we run into other activities after school as well. It's hard for the students.
Yep, it shows priorities. Well, thank you for sharing your talents.
Thank you. It's been fun to be here.
Thank you very much.
You bet.